Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Limit Podcast. Phil, it's been a while, but we're back. Season 2, Episode 1. Here we go.
Yeah, I kind of held us up. I had so much going on and moving buildings and all that kind of stuff. I wanted to keep it. I hated to stop because we had so much momentum and we
Yeah,
get so many views on those little shorts and the little reels you were doing. But we're back at it again now. So hopefully, knock on wood, we won't have any more glitches.
yeah. And speaking of new building, I mean, it's behind you. You're in the new building tonight. Doing,
Actually have an office now. You believe
yeah,
that?
yeah. Look at
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we started PH fishing and so it needed a lot more space. And I know this is going to be a 2 or 3 year working project, but I'm excited. We've got a lot of rods. We got a really nice series of rods that have PH fishing on the blank. They're actually uh, not quite here. I'm hoping
Yeah.
within a couple weeks. I know they're shipped. So and it was a really big order. We've got spinner baits, jigs, buzz baits. I don't know if you can see this. This is a really popular thing where I live here. That's a
Oh, yeah.
football head, like a half ounce. And what guys are doing here at Brookville Lake is, I mean, this is like about the winning technique in the summer here. Is guys are using like a flapping hog or some kind of creature bait, and they're throwing that on this big half ounce shaky head, and they just kind of drag it and shake it along. And I know I can't imagine it wouldn't work everywhere, but there's really not many people making like a jig head for that with the right size hook to flip in the flapping hog. So we did it with two different size hooks, and I just got them in Frames Outdoor Sports here, our local store, to
Hmm.
try. Uh, I can show you the package. They come in a real nice package. Says PH Fishing on them, and we've like sold the crap out of them. I'm really shocked that they sold that well. And then I know you have some. We've got a hand tied bucktail jig on an
Yep.
underspin head.
Yep.
Did three sizes there, and we actually come out with a little marabou head for the guys that are throwing them for smallmouth up north.
Yep.
And then we've got got a hair jig for scoping and stuff. It's like a small, more finessey hair jig. Uh, and it's on our moon baby head that we've had for swim bait. So it has a
Hmm.
big giant eye in it, light wire hook. So, and then we got so much stuff coming down the pike that I really don't even know where to start. And including a line of hard baits, like we've already got jerk bait samples. It's a nice jerk bait for a lot less money than some of the more expensive ones. Got a weight transfer system, and that's all coming like this is going to be a long thing because we've already been at this for like 9 months and just now starting to get stuff trickling in. So over the next
Yeah.
2 or 3 years, I think PH is going to be a one-stop shop.
Yeah. No. That's awesome. And you guys are thinking about kind of everything for every angler, too. I mean, you guys have all kinds of stuff. And going back to the rods, so I haven't seen the rods in person. You've shot me a few pictures of them, but
Hmm.
man, not only you were talking about the performance of them, but man, they're good looking rods too.
Yeah, and there's the thing with me is I'm like super picky. Guys that know me know that, and I don't
Yep.
mean just in like making balsa baits or anything. Like I'm like picky. Like
Hmm.
I won't fish with something if I don't have faith in it or like it. And I think the 7.6 flipping rod might be one of the lightest flipping sticks I've ever had in my hands.
Yeah,
We've
let
been
me tell you something. I've always known you as a good flipper, but getting in the boat with you last year, like you are a very, very good flipper, and you are very particular. I can't tell you how many times I saw you fixing the bait on back on the hook. So for you to say that a flipping stick is really good, it is really solid.
Yeah. Like I can't stand little stuff like drives me nuts. Maybe I'm a little OCD. Like I can't stand for a plastic worm not to hang straight or
Yeah.
I flip a rage bug a lot, a lot of people do. But if
Mhm.
it's not on there straight, it doesn't act the same in the water. It'll spin and I like my shaky heads. I want my shaky heads just right. And we have a really nice shaky head too that we've
Yeah.
we've been making it for years and I never really promoted it or done much with it. We're gonna do that. It's an awesome shaky head. It's the only one I throw, and I sell a
Mhm.
lot of them just word of mouth. But yeah, like the rods, like we've got a better grade of cork. We got a more expensive handle in there. Like if we wanted something really nice that wasn't going to break the bank,
Yep.
and it's a proprietary guide to us. Uh, and we've done like three composite models for cranking and got a rod for chatterbait. And then we've got like a couple worm and jig rods. We got like a really good jerkbait rod. The handle's a little shorter because as you get older, you get a little fatter, or you got a lot of clothes on in the spring and
Hmm.
winter. I hate how the handle hits, and I don't even know all the models off the top of my head. We got spinnerbait models, and they're all pretty stout, but they got some tips so you can roll cast. And we're going to expand that. And hopefully, if guys buy the rods, and I think they're going to go really good, actually, I'm really
Yeah.
excited about it. Then we're
Yep.
going to have a higher end rod and a lower end rod. That's our goal. I mean, we got like a plan for the future, and we're just going to try to grow it. And I think that with what's happening with live scope, whether you like it or you don't, live scope has wrecked the tackle industry, certain parts of it.
Yep.
And I think that moving forward, the way to go, and I've got business partners now, and which is really nice. And we all agree that like these college, high school kids is the wave of the future. And a lot of them are not going to pay $25 for a bait, no matter how much time goes into making a bait.
Hmm.
So we're trying to be attractive to a bigger demographic, is what I'm saying. Instead of like,
Hmm.
I think probably the average age of a balsa bait buyer is probably 45 or maybe even a little older now. So I'm
Yep.
hoping that, we're going to try to target, have something for everybody,
Yep. Yep. And
including crappie fishing.
yeah, and you guys, with the rods that you guys have selected, you have a really solid casting lineup, but also some really good spinning rod options as well.
Yeah, we got 3 spinning rod models. I'm not a scoper. I know I do drop shot a lot, and we got one
Yep.
that's an awesome drop shot rod. Got a lot of tip and stuff. Because like this is one thing that happens to me a lot. Like Bill Lowen and I go up, and Brandon Pickett goes with us. We go up to St. Clair a lot, and we throw drop shots for smallies. And most of mine, I don't throw a spinning rod a lot, so most of mine are geared more to like throwing like a wacky rig Senko or a
Mm.
shaky head, fishing
Yep.
deeper offshore. So my spinning rods are all like 7.2s, and they're really probably like equivalent to a medium heavy. They're pretty stout. Well, we
Yep.
go up there and you're throwing a little circle hook, nose hooking a bait for smallies, and I lose half of them at the boat. And Lowen's always like, if you wouldn't use them stiff rods. So we've got one. We got a minnow shaking rod. We've got a drop shot rod, and we're gonna add models as we go, as we see what guys want and what they don't like. And
Sure. Sure. Being in Indiana, I'm gonna guess you guys are gonna have a tube rod as well at some point.
I
So
guess we've got tubes. We got 3.5 inch tubes. We got four
yeah.
inches now, and we're going to launch a new site under the PH Fishing brand. And I think we got 15 colors of tubes. We've been selling quite a lot of tubes out of the shop, just getting the name, local guys coming in and buying,
Hmm.
And the tubes are all hand dipped. They're all made in America. They're all hand dipped tube. We tried to start off with the best colors. And we got buku of them. So once we get them on the site, it's not going to be like the balsa where it's hard to get and we run out a lot. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
This stuff is all much quicker turnaround time. And yeah, I'm excited about it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
exciting to see where it's going to go.
Yeah. Yeah. And going back to the tubes, I got a fair amount of the kind of that first batch that you guys had
Mhm.
to kind of try out. And man, they are really really nice tubes, and the great colors too. You got a really classic color in that green pumpkin, and then something that I really like that you guys have done too, and some folks are getting away from it is that black and blue with the blue tail. Uh,
Exactly. Yeah.
that's that's a great bait.
Yeah. We're going to add a lot of colors, and as time goes on, I mean, obviously you can't just spend hundreds of thousands right off the bat, but
Right.
we're going to add a little bit and grow. And I'm excited. I think the real deal is over the next couple of years, like when we get our site live, hopefully in the next week or two, couple weeks maybe, we'll start adding stuff that we've got on there, and I'm hoping everybody comes to PH Fishing. We'll kick all this off so everybody knows the web address and all that. And I'm going to incorporate I'm going to change the PH Fishing Facebook page because it has 13 or 14,000 followers. So we're just going to change the name on there to PH Fishing, and
Yep.
then we're going to start to do a lot more videos and TikTok and stuff like that, and do instructional videos when we get to the lake. You come down and help me. I bought cameras,
Hmm.
and
Yep.
I'm a total idiot when it comes to that. I don't know anything about it, but that's where you and some other guys come in, and then. Well, that's probably enough about pH. I mean, I just kind of wanted to get everybody started thinking about it. Over the next few months, there's going to be a lot of
No.
things added.
No, I know we started talking about it a little bit towards the end of last year.
Hmm.
Season one of the podcast, season two of the podcast. I think it's a really, really good update. Really looking
Hmm.
forward to what you guys are bringing to the market. I've seen sneak peeks of some stuff and some of the
Mhm.
plastics you guys are working on and stuff like that. So really excited to see the full lineup and see this stuff start rolling and kind of coming out.
Yeah, and we've made a lot of samples and prototypes, and
Hmm.
we're not going to stop till they're perfect. So we're not going to bring anything out until it's just right. I have spinnerbait samples. We did quarter, three eighths, and half to start. They're all hand tied skirts. They got American made components in them. They're really really sweet, and that's just been a work in progress. Like it's there's a lot to picking colors
Hmm.
and you know, like even on a spinnerbait, like you got a lot of guys like a twist wire, and I like a twist wire for obvious reasons.
Hmm.
But most, I think the overwhelming majority, especially the younger guys, they want a R-bend wire. So
Yeah.
we did this first model of spinnerbaits with an R-bend wire, and someday in the future, maybe we'll do a model of spinnerbait that has the twist eye. And I mean, even like the buzzers, we've got well, here's a buzz bait. I mean, and a lot of guys know already buy buzz baits from us. You know, they squeak really good.
Hmm.
Hand tied skirts, I mean, for top rate components. Um, it's just I'm not very patient. The guys I've partnered with, they're very patient compared to me. So they hold me back, you know,
Yeah.
and they're great guys to be partnered up with, and I'm excited.
Yeah. No, no, great things coming. I'm me personally, out of everything that I've seen and we can talk about, it's really I'm really excited about the rods, but then also really excited about that underspin, the hand tied hair
Mhm.
jig too. Like
Right.
that's pretty unique.
Mhm.
Early and late in the year, that underspin is really tough to beat to get bites.
Right, and then like I live on Brookville, and it's full of smallies, and Brookville has a lot of flats.
Yep.
And that little marabou jig like is a
Hmm.
really big deal all through the Great Lakes in Wisconsin, Minnesota. I fished with a lot of guys. I fished tourneys up on Lake Michigan, and early in the year when the water's in the 40s, everybody's throwing this little marabou head.
Yep.
A 16th or an eighth would be like the heaviest. And
Yep.
they're throwing them on super light line. They throw them and they just wind them slow. It's almost like what do they call that technique? Strolling, like they do the little
Strolling. Yep.
minibait that they've did for years in
Yep.
Kentucky and Tennessee, and like that's deadly at Brookville here. And
Yep.
I don't know anybody that's using it here, but we just did like I think we did green pumpkin, black and brown, and for now they're only available in Tackle Warehouse, but they'll be available on our site here real quick. And it's deadly here, and that's something that our
Yeah.
smallies here on my home lake. I've never seen one tied on in a boat unless guys were crappie fishing.
Yep. Nope, and, thinking, kinda throwing it to the kayak side, I mean, it's a very deadly bait here on the White River too to catch smallies in the wintertime. I mean, that is a tough to beat technique here for sure.
Isn't
So,
it amazing how different areas have different techniques and a fish
yeah,
is a fish? You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah, yeah.
I think probably the only thing you need for that marabou hair to work with those smallies is probably clear water is probably is the big
Mhm.
thing, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, yeah, clear
Yeah.
water and, a lot of guys throw it out there and they'll just kinda let it drop on like
Hmm.
on slack line and just kinda let it float down and
Hmm.
real patient with it. Like you said, just kinda lightly reel it.
Yeah.
Uh, Deadly technique for sure.
I need to learn. I learned it from Gary Atkins, who's won a couple MPFLs. Him and
Yep.
I have been deer hunting buddies, and we used to be traveling roommates. Like when I fished the Everstarts and he fished the Everstarts, and I got introduced to it in Wisconsin, up on Sturgeon, or actually up on Sturgeon Bay,
Mm,
and we fished a tourney up there, and it's like stupid simple. And you want to fairly the way we do it, and the way most people up there do it is they're throwing it mostly on 6 pound test line
yeah.
and a pretty soft rod, and you just throw it out, and it's not something that you're going to fish in 20 feet of water. It's when they're up there cruising and sunning in 4 or 5 feet of water, and you just throw it
Mhm.
out, literally just reel it in.
Yep.
I mean, it's stupid simple, and they pretty much hook themselves when they get on it.
Yep. Yeah, and when I think of that technique, I think of guys like Seth Feider. That's one that,
Mhm.
you see Seth
Yeah,
Feider break out pretty often, so.
right, right. So, what did you think about the classic?
Well, oh, the first BASS event of the
Yeah,
year?
or
Yeah,
not the classic. I'm sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, the
No,
first
no.
elite event. I
Yeah,
said
yeah.
classic. Yeah, what did you
Uh,
think about that?
man, that was awesome. I was really excited to see Hank Cherry kind of fishing a old school
Yeah.
technique, like man, I haven't seen a grub in somebody's boat in years and years, and that was pretty awesome. I think it was really like personally just watching it as a fan. I think it was probably one of the better tournaments I've seen in a while from start to finish
Mhm.
because you had somebody leading the event, somebody different leading the event every day, which is pretty unique anymore.
Well, it was. I thought the thing that was nice is I'm obviously an old school fisherman. I
Hmm.
mean, like I don't hate people that scope or anything like that. I don't get on Facebook and make crappy comments.
Right.
But I like the old school fish, and it was nice for me. And I'm much older. It was nice for me to see these guys moving around and following grass lines and winding
Hmm.
that little grub and throwing a trap and throwing a jerk bait and actually fishing like oh, I shouldn't say actually fishing. That didn't sound too. But you know what I'm saying? Like they
Yep.
actually had to
Yep.
figure out where the fish were and stay with them without looking at them in real time. And I thought that
Yep.
was it's kind of like I guess it's the not knowing that I really like.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the magic of fishing for me personally too, is just the not knowing. But man, Matt Robertson with that jerk bait, and
Hmm.
hell, he said he was using a $24 rod from Walmart.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
and
that's what.
I don't know if I've ever seen anybody work a jerk bait with the rod tip up like that and popping it like he was. Like it was
Uh
very,
huh.
very unique. So it all around it was very, very eventful. I think they did a really good job covering it. And I really enjoyed kind of the diversity of what everybody was doing on the water.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, yeah, it was. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I don't hardly ever watch them if it's a scoping event. I'm just going to be honest. It's
Hmm.
just boring to watch somebody. And I know if scope's allowed, that it's really hard to win without it. They're almost forced to scope now.
Yeah.
But for me, it's just boring to watch. I mean, I know they catch a lot of fish and they catch really big ones, but I can't wait. You think we're going to see another tournament this year, or we'll see another tourney on the elites where it's just all flipping or all deep
Mm,
cranking on a ledge,
yeah.
or
I don't know. I would say it's probably going to be doubtful. I mean, I think this was I think this is going the Gunnersville event was a very, very unique event. I think it's going to be one that this year we look at, once we get through the season on the Elite Series, that we're going to look back on and say, man, that was a really great tournament.
right.
Um, and I think they may have hit it at the right time. Fish were doing things just at the right time too. I mean, Stetson Blaylock throwing a hollow belly
Mhm.
swim bait, like that's pretty unique too anymore. Like,
But yeah, been a long time since you've seen anybody even throwing one, and
yeah, well, I mean, when's the last time you saw one in a tackle shop? Really? I mean, I
yeah,
can't.
well, I mean, when was the last time you heard the word bass tricks?
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
remember when you couldn't get one.
right,
It
right.
was, and I watched Hank Cherry, and then it makes me think about like how like you get stuck in a rut because listen, I have a whole tote full of grubs,
Hmm.
not for crappie fishing.
Hmm.
Like I remember when an attorney with a team tourney on the Ohio River once, and we were throwing black with a chartreuse tail, a little Kalin's grub,
Yeah.
and flipping it Texas rigged, and that stuff still works. And like back like on the years when Brookville Lake here is really clear, and I haven't, and it's so dumb because I haven't done it in so long. But I used to always have like a Kalin's grub or like a Fat Albert grub or something, and just plain smoke or salt and pepper
Yep.
on a jig head, like on a 3/16 or quarter-ounce jig head. And when I was
Hmm.
fishing offshore, uh, and this was before we had swim baits, and I guess the swim baits took this place. But those Kalin's grubs out there anywhere are just deadly
Yeah.
on a ball head, and I used to like kind of like stroke them up. It's kind of like these guys now, like you see zoning these guys and they're snapping a tube up on
Yep.
St. Clair and Lake Erie. That's
Yep.
kind of how we fished the grub back then. And
Okay.
there's a lot of times when you couldn't get bit when as long as the water was clean, you could really catch them. And the smallies are really, really suckers for that bait.
In that situation, Phil, would you catch them? Was it almost always on the fall?
Yeah, I'd snap it up, and to be
Yeah.
honest, I would snap it up with a spinning rod, and then like it was before we even used braid with a leader. I would
Hmm.
just have 8 pound line on there, and hell, we were catching them like that before even fluorocarbon, and like we would use like 8 pound strand, clear strand, or eight
Yep.
pound trilene, and But what you get, I think the advantage when you got the fluorocarbon and listen, fluorocarbon still stretches a lot, but it doesn't stretch as much as monofilament. And I think back then maybe when you're snapping it up and a lot of these grub fish I would catch would be 12 to 20 feet deep,
Okay.
and they're shad chasers. You know what I mean? They're
Mhm.
just close to the bottom. And I think probably by the time you get that stretch, you're not popping that up, so it's not as dramatic. And now, like I think with the fluorocarbon lines, that it's more dramatic. You do have much less stretch, and I
Yeah.
think it's more dramatic when you snapped it. And I think like I haven't done this, but I think throwing it on a leader with like 10 pound braid where you have very little stretch. I mean, just look at how quick it's going to change directions and pop up. So, and most of the fish I caught, to be honest, I wouldn't even fill them. You snap it up, and then when you snap it up again, you hook them. Kind of like
Yeah.
stroking a big jig,
Yep.
when you're out there. I mean, most of the time, I don't feel the bite if you stroke a jig right and you let it fall with total slack. I don't feel the bite.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, kinda like a jerkbait bite too. A lot of times
Yeah,
you don't you're just kinda snapping, you're
and they're
picking
on
up
it. Yeah.
your yep, you're picking up your line again, and all of a sudden your rod's bent over. So,
Yeah, yeah. So I bet you can't buy chartreuse grub now. And that
no.
grub he was throwing looked like a cheapie, like an off. It didn't look like a fat Albert. The tail on it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe other people saw it better,
I don't
but it almost
know.
looked like an old Mister Twister, didn't it?
I was gonna say that somebody posted it was Mr. Twister.
Was it
So,
really?
yeah.
That's what I thought when I saw it because it doesn't have that wider tail. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yep. Yeah, and I'll tell you something too with that grub. I mean, I've thrown grubs on swim jigs a lot. I really like
Mhm.
it on a swim
Mhm.
jig.
Oh yeah.
It's really, really nice. But
What's
man,
the deal in the Mississippi? Throwing a
yeah,
Kalen's grub on a swim or on a swim
sure.
bait, yeah. Or I mean a
Yep.
swim jig.
Yep. But man, I can't tell you the last time I've seen somebody fish it just on a ball head like he was. I mean,
Yeah.
that was very entertaining and awesome.
What impressed me was that he was doing it on a casting rod. So
I
whatever
know.
reel he was throwing must cast really, really good.
Yeah.
Because he was throwing it on 12-pound line, and didn't he say an 1/8 ounce head?
Yeah, an 1/8 ounce, and then I think he went up maybe the last day a little bit, but and to me it didn't look like he was using like a BFS,
No.
rod. It looked like a medium light rod. So
Maybe we'll have him on here one night on the podcast, and
yeah,
and he could talk about that. And yeah, yeah, I like. I mean, like just think about it. I kind of thought like when I first realized saw him doing it, and I don't watch much of the shows. I just kind of like flip it on a little bit when in the morning, see what guys are doing, kind of. Then I'm gone for the day usually.
hmm
But they probably. I mean, could you imagine how long it's been since those fish at Gunnersville have saw a twister tail? Probably.
oh god, yeah. Even like yeah, that size of grub, who knows? I mean,
Yeah.
you think about those grubs, and a lot of them are like little crappie grubs, but this is pretty good sized grub. So
Yeah. I tell you, I carry a whole box with me. One thing I haven't fished one as much the last 3 or 4 or 5 years, but I've done really good like at Monroe or Kentucky
mhm.
Lake when the fish are in the bushes. I keep a box. I've got a plain old box with nothing but 5-inch Kalen's grubs in it. And like that bluegill colored Kalens when the water is high in the bushes in the spring and it's clean, I can't tell you how many nice bags of fish I've caught flipping a 5-inch Kalen's grub down in the bushes. I
Yeah.
don't know if that's because they don't see it or it's just in that clean water, it's subtle, but flipping a Kalen's grub is deadly and it's kind of forgotten about now, I think.
Yeah, it's funny how those forgotten lures just kind of fade away, and like, I don't know, it's been 6, 7 months ago, you and I were talking about one that kind of popped in my head, and that's the spent scout. Like, how many spent
Exactly.
scouts do you see anymore?
Yeah,
And
and they still catch them too.
oh my goodness, I caught one of my biggest fish last year on a spent scout. I'm just kind of out messing around a little bit,
Uh-huh.
threw that thing on, and man, it absolutely got destroyed
Yeah.
by a 5 or 6 pounder. So
I wonder how many people that are going to watch this are even going to like. You got to do the spin scout part. Like that has to be a short. I
yeah.
wonder how many people will actually know what that is.
Probably not many, right? Like
Uh,
even guys my age, like when I mention a spent scout, they're like, I don't remember that at all. And it's like, man, I remember Bill Dance having it on his show and talking about it. Like
Mhm.
that used to be a really big deal.
My dad has a lot of. He's 82. He has a lot of them still,
Does he?
and I remember like back in the day when some of the lakes, more of the lakes around here had pads. Like when the pads are thin enough, or like pad stems, there might
Hmm.
not be a better bait to throw around pad stems than a spin
Yeah.
scout.
Yep. Yeah, just some of those forgotten lures. It's really, really interesting how time goes by and then some of them get remade and, like the Whopper Plopper, the Whopper
Yeah,
Plopper was made 50 years ago
yeah.
by some guy. Like, so everything old becomes new, and, it's always interesting to see some of those old school baits, kinda
Mhm.
pop back up and win a tournament.
Yeah, I even like that Strike King bait. What do they call the crankbait? Is it the headhunter? The one that has the lip that bends down and then out. You know what I'm talking about? It has
Oh,
the L-shaped lip. What do they
yeah,
call that?
the,
What the hell is that called?
oh, man.
I
I
have a
I
I have a Plano box with nothing but those in it. The juniors, that bait is deadly too, by the way. It has a real wide wobble and that loud rattle. I throw the one knocker ones. But that's not a new bait. That's a remake of an old bait.
Yeah, what is that the one Todd Castledine worked on?
Yeah,
And the
yeah,
the
he does
hybrid
a
hunter, hybrid
Hyper
hunter.
Hunter, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that bait is awesome. And I mean, it catches them good. And the
yeah,
little junior one is awesome down at the Ohio River up in them creeks and stuff.
really.
And when years ago, when I bought Lee Sisson out, and for the young guys won't know, but the older guys, Lee Sisson is like a legend in
Mhm.
the tackle industry and has forgotten more about building wooden baits or designing crankbaits than probably anybody alive knows. Lee's a great friend of mine. We'll have him on here one night. He has so many stories about things, like talking about like the buzzbait before it was even brought to before anybody marketed. He saw it,
Yeah.
and I always like talking to him. And he's deer hunting with me up here quite a lot. But Lee is like what I bought Lee out. He owned Old School Baits, and we bought Lee out. And I remember when I went down there, he was actually making a bait like that, similar for himself. And he was using Lexan lips, and he was heating them up and bending them like that, and then putting them in wood baits,
Mm,
and it worked
wow.
great.
Yeah, I bet.
And he was doing that 20 years ago.
When's the first time you saw a buzzbait?
Well, let's see. When I was 13 years old, I'm 60, so I graduated in 83, so you're 18 when you graduate.
Mhm.
I would have been 13 in 1978. I was born in 65. So for my birthday, like we were nuts about fishing, and we tied like hair jigs and stuff like that. And I remember my dad and my uncle, I probably said this on the podcast years and years ago. My Uncle Marshall had a black collie. And back then, like hair jigs and stuff weren't readily available. And then they were throwing them with pork on the back.
Yeah.
And a jig and frog, I mean, actually was a hair jig with a pork frog in the back. That's where it
Yeah.
got the name. And they would cut that hair off that collie dog and use that black hair to make black jigs. And back in those days, you'd put like a black widow eel, Uncle Josh pork. You put like an
Mhm.
eel or a twin tail on them, and it's almost like a worm type profile. But in cold water, it's deadly. And I still throw that stuff a lot. I flip a hair jig a lot when the water's cold. So on my 13th birthday, there was a place over in Mooresville, Indiana, called Tackle Service Center. I believe it's
Mm.
still there.
That's still there.
But
Yeah.
that was when the bait making deal first started in Do It Molds, and all the skirts were like either the real old plastic vinyl skirts or
Mhm.
they were the 40 leg rubber skirts. And so I went over there, and Dad bought me a mold. He bought me a Do It buzzbait mold, and I took the class where they teach you how to tie living rubber.
Mhm.
And we made buzz baits for years. And back then we didn't hardly ever make a quarter. We just threw the 3/8 ounce buzzer or a half-ounce head with the big blade on it.
Yeah.
And we tied living rubber on it. And like the old flat rubber is the really good stuff. And the
Yeah.
colors were real subdued. Like it was almost like everything was a matte finish. And I remember we would just catch the crap out of them on like a black with a chartreuse. And the chartreuse flat rubber is not bright like this shirt I got on. It's not like fluorescent yellow or limey
Yeah.
looking. We would throw black and chartreuse, and we would throw a white one, and then we would throw like a purple one. And that purple flat rubber buzz bait was deadly. And I remember back in those days, those bass were so stupid for a buzz bait that you could throw a buzz bait from the water could be 50 in the spring all the way to 50 in the fall. and you could literally fish all over our lakes with two rods, a worm and a buzzbait, and they would just hit that buzzer. They were so stupid for it. I never. And then of course now they're situational, and so I
Yeah.
guess I was 13, so that would have been 47 years ago. And
Wow.
then not long after that is when I saw my first lunker lure buzzer, and they had
Yep.
the rubber, the 40 tail skirt on them, and
Yep.
then like well, like Rick Clunn is pretty much responsible for getting all that started. He won a bunch of national events real quick on a buzzer, and then back in those days, there were a lot of pros that were making a living doing nothing but throwing a buzzbait.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I remember the first time I saw one, Lunker Lures, and they used to go to the Indianapolis show, and I remember
Mm-hmm.
they used to bring their trailer in, and you
Mm-hmm.
would shop right out of their trailer. And that's the first time I remember. So my dad came back from Minnesota. Oh gosh, that would have been like late '80s.
Mm-hmm.
Came back from Minnesota and it's like he had a handful of these buzz baits and was like, "We have to
Mm-hmm.
try these here." And then, like, so we started throwing them, and man, that's the old Northland. They had the wild
Mm-hmm.
colors back then,
Yeah.
and that's the first buzz bait I remember throwing a lot, and then the lunker was shortly after that. But
Mm-hmm.
man, you're right. Like buzz bait fishing back years ago, I mean, they would just inhale that thing in cold water, warm water. It didn't matter. They would
High
definitely eat it.
skies,
Oh
cloudy,
yeah.
rainy. It was just
Yeah.
stupid. It must have really made them mad. And I
Mhm.
miss those old buzzers because back then we didn't have these round bend hooks, these
Yeah.
so-called premium hooks that have no
Yeah.
barb. The
Yeah.
fish throws the bait because there's no barb on these hooks much. And
Yeah.
back then we did everything. Was it a 253 Eagle Claw? It's an
Mhm.
O'Shaughnessy bend, which is my favorite hook for a lot of things. And like that O'Shaughnessy bin is starts off round and then it kind of 90s back. I guess it would be a 90 back toward the head.
Yep.
So it's not totally round. And then it has a big barb, and you would have to take a file or a stone and sharpen them because you couldn't hardly stick one in your skin if you tried.
Yep.
But I don't know if you remember like using those kinds of hooks, but they
Yeah,
didn't come
those were
up and throw
awesome.
your hook out because they actually had a barb. And I
Mhm.
know from when I used to guide elk hunters out west and deer hunters and stuff, like we would take those guys fishing. In some places we would go to rivers or lakes where it was like barbless hooks, and
Yep.
with barbless hooks you lose a lot of those fish, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
There's nothing to stop. And you look at like any of the hooks, the gammies especially, and the mustads, like you can't hardly sell a bait if it's a jig or a buzz bait or anything that has a single hook. You can't hardly sell one if it doesn't have one of those premium round bend hooks on it. But I'm
Yep.
going to tell you, they do not hold fish. Like you'll never convince me that they hold fish like those old hooks that actually had a barb on them.
Yeah, and those old hooks too, it seemed like it was always in the roof of the mouth, just always almost like top dead center, like right in the mouth. It
Mm-hmm.
seemed like you would
Yeah.
hardly ever catch him in the fat and or anywhere else in his
Oh
life. It
yeah.
was like straight through, pierced him.
You catch them on one of those old eagle claw hooks, and I tell you the difference as somebody who used them. Like look at the war eagles. That's the hook they
Mhm.
had in them for years. Only then they had a laser sharp. Eagle claw come
Yep.
out with the laser sharp, and then it was much better. But it still had that big, and that was the cool thing I think about the war eagles. And now I think don't about all of them have a round bend hook too.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Sure do.
it's just a shame how things change. And
Yeah.
you know, some of the treble hooks now, I mean, like you almost have to have a magnifying glass to see a barb on them.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean,
It is. It is.
but you
And it
got to
seems
sell what people want, you know.
yeah. Yep. 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 So, kind of going back to Gunnersville, I want to get your opinion on this. I know you've painted baits long, long time. You've seen a lot of baits. It seemed like red was dominant, but not maybe not as dominant as it has been in the past. There's some chrome and some shad things. What do you think that red is really something in the spring and late fall, or do you think that's all in our heads as fishermen?
Well, I don't know. I think that you've seen a lot of shad patterns there because it looked like a lot of that water was really clean.
Yep.
And they'll hit red baits in clean water, but I noticed that a lot of places I saw guys fishing, like when they were reeling the fish up, you could see the fish 3 or 4 feet look like under the boat, you know,
Yep.
flashing. But here's what I know: I have sold hundreds of thousands of balsa baits, literally. And then I've painted, I don't know how many thousand plastic baits, repaints. And I'm
Uh-huh.
actually thinking about getting back into doing that again. I think maybe, of course, it's
Yeah.
saturated now. Everybody paints baits. But all I know is from like December until April, in all the hard baits that I've done, is that red is a big deal. And like
Hmm.
red with the chartreuse belly, like, or half
Yeah.
red, half chartreuse, is a big deal. And I don't know why, but I just know this much. You can sell every red bait you can make in a crankbait until about April. And then after that, you just about can't give one away.
Yeah.
Then it's chartreuse and black and shad and,
Right.
chromes and silver foils and gold, those kind of colors. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, is it because everybody's just throwing it? That's what they catch them on because that's what they're using, or do the fish really care? Because I'm going to tell you, in Indiana, it's like deadly here. I ain't never seen a red crawdad in Indiana.
No.
Have you?
No. Never.
Never ever. I mean,
No.
maybe they are, and we just don't know it. But I never seen one. Now, I have seen a lot of them, and I don't know what guys think about this. I would love to hear people comment and say what they think about this. Like, have you ever noticed, like in your live wells around here, they'll be plumb full of crawdad pinchers that are orange. So my thing is, when them bass eat them and they're in their belly, they probably have stomach acid, the same as people and everything else, right?
Yeah.
When them crawfish are inside them fish for a while, do them pinchers turn orange like that, or are there really crawdads
Mm.
around that have them big bright orange? Because you know what I mean. You've seen like the whole, not
Yeah.
just the claw, the whole leg, the whole arm,
Yep.
that like it's broke off at the head of the crawdad, and it be bright orange. Where does that color come from?
Yeah. No, that's a great point. And I don't know that I've seen one, flipping rocks over in creeks and everything else that's
I never ever
all
had.
all the way down like that. Maybe
I
the pinchers, but
Yeah,
beyond that, no.
the tips of them will be orange.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Like here, like our crawdads here are mostly kind of green with like a bone looking belly for them in the creeks, because we weigh them and get them for smallmouth fishing and stuff, and
Hmm.
put in the pond. And then a lot of them, they're a little olivey looking, and they'll have a little brown. Some of them, I mean, honestly, like I don't remember seeing a whole lot of brown and orange crawdads around here, even though brown and orange is a great color to throw. And then, but the ends of them, they'll have these little orange tips. So I'm just wondering, if being in a fish's belly, does that like bleach them out and make them orange, or?
I don't know. That's a good point. Really good point.
And I
Hadn't really
know
thought about it.
like Summit Lake up here, like I've had them spit crawdads up at Summit Lake. That catching those big fish up there.
Hmm.
Summit's a grass lake and it's predominantly clear. A lot of those crawdads in Summit, dude, are a funky green, and they got a lot of light blue on them.
Yep.
Like I've had them crawling around in my live well where apparently a fish had just ate them, and they hadn't killed them yet. And they spit them up, and
Hmm.
they would be green, almost like a bright, like I don't even know what color green that would be, with lots and lots of blue, and it's almost like a baby blue on them. And the other place I saw those was fishing up on the St. Lawrence River. I fished up there with Lowen and with Cliff Pace, and a lot of those crawdads on the St. Lawrence River up there in New York, they're real bright green with a
Hmm.
lot of that blue on them. They look totally different than ours do.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen him up there a few times as well. And yeah, it's interesting because our whole lives as fishermen, we always talk about clear water. You should be throwing green pumpkin. Dirty water, you should be throwing black and blue. Well,
Mm-hmm.
for me, anyways, anytime I've done halfway decent on Summit, it's always been on with black and blue in some of the clearest
Mm-hmm.
water.
Yeah, yeah, and all the crawdads I've seen there, I'm not saying that's the only color they are,
Hmm.
but all the ones I've seen in my live well up there that were still, they're definitely like, and it's almost like it's like much lighter than green pumpkin. It's almost like a watery melon looking green, and
Yeah.
they've got a lot of blue on them.
Yep.
And some of them are like little lobsters, dude. They're wicked looking. Like you don't want to get pinched by them. They're like big
Yeah.
ones in that
Yeah.
grass. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think that that's why those fish up there get so? I mean, I'm sure we're letting a lot out here, right here, talking about Summit Lake, but do you think that's why some of those fish in there are just the size they are, or because of the size of the crawls in there, or
Uh, I don't know, and all the grass gives them a
all the
place to
grass?
hide.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, Summit can, well, you can get on schools of 6 pounders up there, and
Yeah.
I don't know that it's like that as much as it was. It's getting so much pressure since USA Bassins and all that, and a big
Hmm.
percentage of those are I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I shouldn't say a big percentage, but here's what I know is, and I'm a tournament fisherman, but after a lot of these tourneys, you see a lot of dead fish floating around the ramp.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know if that hurts it, or I don't know if that's just a drop in the bucket. And one thing, one thing that bothers me, and listen, I love to eat fish, but I've noticed a lot on social media lately, like seeing these guys like catching these big bags of bass and eating them again. And listen, I love to eat fish, but I catch crappies and bluegills. Bluegills will spawn 2, 3 times a year.
Right.
Crappies will spawn. Do they spawn more than once?
I think they do. Yeah.
And they lay millions and millions of eggs.
Hmm.
And I've read studies where it said that, like a largemouth bass, like in Indiana, I read this study once, and it said in Indiana, and I don't remember where I read it, but it was like by the DNR or something. I mean, it was like an official deal. And they said in Indiana, and I bet a lot of guys don't realize this, and that if you get one bass out of a whole nest that survives to be 14 inches, that's considered a successful spawn. So think about that.
Hmm.
One out of all those little bass, because the bluegills, the crappies, the white bass slaughter them. I mean,
Yeah.
everything eats them. And it said if one lives to be 14 inches, so I just can't hardly. I guess maybe like when way back in the day when Patoka was just lousy with 10 inchers, like thousands of, you could catch 100 a day of 10 and 12 inchers, and they put that slot limit to get a lot of them out. I guess maybe if those lakes, in that there's probably situations, but I can't imagine. And I see this a lot on the Brookville Lake page, and I hope I don't offend anybody. I'm just telling you what I see here is I can't imagine that Brookville Lake has so many bass in it, and there's so many more fishermen now, and there's so many more guys trolling for walleye, and there's bass guys, and there's a lot of people who eat fish, and they catch. I can't imagine that the bass are so plentiful in Brookville Lake that you could eat a lot of them. I just don't buy that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been a strain on our resources the last few years, and yeah, I mean, you definitely see the decline of some fisheries, and it's interesting because nationwide, like Gunnersville, for example, we were just talking about that. It's had its ups and downs.
Yeah.
Some of the most historic lakes that you can think of overall, they've been having these huge swings, like Falcon, and some
Mhm.
like Falcon used to be like a dreamland, and now it's like,
About shot, they say.
yeah, you don't hear much. Isn't that where Brower lives? Denny Brower?
Is
Is
it
it
Falcon or
Falcon?
Amistad? One
It's
of the
not.
two.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
and
it's,
you
yeah, one of the two.
I see his videos, and he's talking about how tough it can be, and so
Oh yeah,
yeah.
he's told me because he's got baits from me a lot, and he's told me that it's not like it was. You don't whack those big bags of big ones as much as they did, and
Yeah.
and and listen, listen. There's nothing illegal about a guy going down there and catching 5 fish and keeping them. All I wish guys would think about, like, is you can't do it every day or 3 times a week, because like anybody knows that, especially since COVID,
Yeah.
there has never been so many fishing boats on the lake. And like I noticed there's more walleye guys than ever, and a lot of walleye guys are catching them to eat, and I get that. I mean, fish are good to eat. But
Mhm.
like in most of the Indiana lakes, they're actually milking the walleye, and they're restocking them every year by the hundreds of thousands.
Mhm.
The bass don't do those bass, like, I don't know how they survive, because you take a guy trolling that little flicker shad, can get it down 10, 12 feet on the breaks when they
Yeah.
slaughter them.
Yeah.
Like, I just think that in this day and age, and then had this Amish guy say, well, God put him here to eat. And I'm like, yeah, he did. But there was how many billion people, or how many million people are in this country now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it
There's a
like getting
lot.
close to 300 million or something? Like, all I'm saying is there's so many people fishing, and the average fisherman is better. They catch more fish. Now you got scoping that. I wish people would just cut them a little slack, because
Mhm.
they got a pretty rough way to go, don't they? To me, that would be no different than going out because the state says you can shoot 8 does. You got to shoot 8 does.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't buy that either.
And let's be honest about it too. I mean, water quality isn't that great either, so you probably shouldn't be eating
Mm.
that much fish out of our public waterways,
Yeah,
especially here in Indiana, anyways.
yeah. Now, like Brookville, which they claim that it's because of all the fertilizer on the fields around the lake runs into it. The algae blooms are horrendous here now,
Hmm. Yep.
and we didn't have that when I was a kid. But my thing is I don't know if that fly. I mean, why didn't we have those big algae blooms when we were young? Because there's no more farm fields around the lake than there ever was. I mean, it's always been the
Yeah.
same fields, same farmers.
Yep.
And actually now there's like less hog farms and stuff, like to run in. And so where does all them algae blooms? Like if you ever
Hmm.
fish Grand Lake St. Mary's in Ohio, that's famous in Ohio, Indiana area for that. Like the water will glow over there sometimes. I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't swim in that water for nothing. And it's a
Yeah.
nice lake too.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, there's even lakes here in northern Indiana where they have the greenways and all that stuff where they pay the
Mhm.
farmers not to farm it and stay away from it and not put
Mhm.
stuff in it. And I mean, they get some nasty algae blooms as well. So
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. It's just a thought I have. Like I just noticed it seems like I see a lot more people eating, posting. Like I
yeah.
saw a guy posted the other day that had a whole tub full of bass, and I imagine those could probably come out of a private lake. But I
Yeah.
thought, holy crap, man! And a lot of them were 2 and 3 pounders, and I'm like,
Hmm.
you can't tell me that many 2 and 3 pounders need to come out of any body of water. Maybe if you
Right.
10 or 12 inches, but
Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
sure that's not very popular what I just said with a lot of people. So I'm not trying to offend anybody.
No, no, no. It is interesting. You go to the lakes now, even rivers. You're seeing a lot of guys taking things out of rivers, and man,
Yeah.
I'm just like, man, one thing, the health of that fish and how clean that fish is going to be is probably not the greatest for you to be eating anyways. But especially some of the larger smallmouth that we see around and in our lakes and streams here, like those are old fish. Like those are really really old fish to get to the size they are, especially a river fish.
Well,
So
look how unsuccessful the spawn is in the river because
yeah,
sometimes it's flooded for 6 weeks and they might not get a good spawn. I
yep,
don't know if they carry those eggs so long they say they absorb back into their body. Like a smallie
hmm,
don't have a chance, really, if you think
no,
about it. In the rivers,
no, and I've seen it both ways too. I've seen it, to where with had high water, they go up there, they stage up, they make their nest, and then all of a sudden the water drops and it's out of water, like
yeah,
it's gone. So
drop in
it
one day, 3 feet or
exactly,
4. Yeah,
exactly, just gone, like the water was just sucked out of that area. So
yeah. I honestly, I would like to see them raise the size limit in Indiana to 16 inches,
yeah,
and
or
people
have
would just throw a fit about that.
or
But
start having a slot, some
yeah, because
low and
I mean,
high.
you look at it like this: if you've ever fished lakes, and I know you have, where they have a 16-inch limit, listen, it seems like that most of those places have better fishing
Yeah,
because they get to spawn another 2 years or another year at least to put
yep.
something back into the system, and then like if you ever notice if you go to a lake that has a 12-inch limit, you catch a lot of 11 3/4. If you
Yeah,
go where it's a 14-inch limit, you catch a
yeah,
lot of 13 3/4. You
yeah,
go to a 16-inch limit, you catch bukus of 15 inchers.
yep,
So, I mean, I think like if I would love it if they put a 16-inch size limit on Brookville, but that ain't never going to happen.
yeah, yep,
I mean, they
yep,
get crucified if they did that, if the DNR did it.
yep, yep. So
Yeah, that Elite Series, I wish they would all be that way, but they're
hmm,
going to be scoping on Martin this week, so
yep.
you're going to see a buttload of them caught, I bet, and you're going to be looking at somebody's back the whole time, and somebody's going to say, "Oh, well, when they were throwing a rattle trap,
Yeah.
I was looking at their back. It ain't the same. You
No, it's
know
not.
it. You
It's not the
know it,
same
and
at
I
all.
know it. It ain't the
Yeah.
same."
It's not the same, and seeing those guys wind up and making those casts and
Mhm.
fishing in the grass, yeah, I mean, that was a lot of fun. I really like watching the NPFL too, I
Oh yeah, that's my favorite
that's
actually.
a really good league. It's got some really good
Mhm.
fishermen over there. Seems like more guys are trying to fish both series, and it's NPFL is great too.
I saw a video Greg Hackney did, and he said it was nice to go somewhere where he could actually fish, didn't have to worry about scoping.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah,
guys like that are awesome to watch. So,
yeah. Well, the knowledge, like to go catch them without it, and I hear guys, and I'm gonna make people mad. I hope not. I mean, we're just talking here. Everybody's
Yeah,
entitled to their opinion. I don't hate
sure.
nobody because there's a different mind. But I see people all the time saying, "Well, it's not easy with scope." Well, I'm sure it's not. I'm not a scoper, but here's what I can guarantee you: when you and I go fishing all day, how many casts do you think we throw to a bass? When you're scoping, and I know probably I'm going to have to get one if I want to continue to fish for money. I'm going to have to get a
Mhm.
live scope. There's
Yeah,
like no doubt about it. It's coming. Phil Hunt will have a live scope, but I can guarantee it's easier to catch five if every single cast you make all day is at a fish.
sure. Your percentage goes up. Has to.
You make. I mean, if every cast you make is in front of a bass, it's stupid.
Yep.
I'm going to say it's stupid to act like that you're not that it's not easier than if I throw at 500 stumps and only two of them had a fish on them because I don't know because I can't see under the water.
Yep. No, great point. Great
Yeah,
point.
you might ought
So,
to edit that out.
no, we're keeping it.
What I just said, but you know what I'm saying.
Absolutely. Yep.
It's like I've killed a lot of big bucks. I mean, I'm really passionate about hunting big bucks, and I didn't put any cameras out this year. It's much easier to kill a big whitetail when you've got cameras all over the woods and they're coming to your phone now. You don't even have to go in there to
Yeah.
disturb them unless the batteries go dead.
Yeah.
Anybody that tells me that these cell phone cameras don't make it easy to kill a big buck is not being honest.
Yeah.
Because when you can saturate the woods and you see that one comes here regular and you can pattern them and you never have to go in there and leave scent and you go in there that day and kill them, or you got them around where they come out of the field and all of a sudden boom, your phone goes off and there's a big one in the field. If you live close, now that we can hunt with rifles, you go over there and shoot it with a rifle, and guys can't tell me it don't happen because it does.
Yeah. Yep. No, I agree. I
I mean, the
agree.
cameras
So,
make it easier, spotlight makes it easier, scoping makes it
yep.
easier, you know.
Yep. Yep. There's a lot of
It's
things.
it's like it's a shortcut. And but I have scoped and I will say it is fun.
Hmm.
And the technology is amazing. Like and I guess what riders keep telling me that the stuff coming down the pike, the tech is going to make this stuff look so outdated.
Yeah. Kind of prehistoric, huh?
Yeah, that's what they're saying. That the stuff's
Yeah.
coming, like it's going to tell you, like they say it's going to tell you like what species of fish with a
Oh,
really
wow.
with a lot of accuracy. You know, I'm sure it won't be 100%, but with a lot of accuracy, and you won't even have to look down at the screen. You'll just wear a pair of glasses. I mean, that's coming, and I figure probably the only reason that Garmin hasn't released some of that stuff yet is if you think about it, they're still so far ahead of Hummingbird, and I use Hummingbird stuff, but
Hmm.
they're still pretty far ahead of the game. There's no reason for them to release anything unless Lowrance and Hummingbird catch up. And I'm not a
Yeah.
scoper, but I've had so many pros tell me that even as good as the Lowrance and Hummingbird live scope is, that it's still not quite the same as the Garmin stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm
No.
assuming when the other companies catch up, that
Yep.
Garmin's going to release some other cool stuff, and it's going to,
It's going to be a one-up war. Just
yeah.
one upping each other.
I mean, part of it's exciting to think about. Like,
Sure.
I mean, how
Sure.
cool can it be? But I just don't know how good it is for the sustainability of the sport.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And I guess one thing we should mention, Phil. I think we're gonna go to what, bi-weekly with this one. So every other week we'll get a show in, get it posted up. Well, we're nearing the 1 hour mark already. Just chit
Are we
chatting
really?
here. Yeah. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah. So I think we're gonna go to an every other week kind of format, and until we can get some momentum and kind of some things going here. So with that, do you have any final words for this episode, Phil?
No, it was nice to do it, and
Yeah.
I hope that everybody got a little something out of it. At least like when the buzzbait come out,
Yeah.
late
Yeah.
'70s, and
Yep.
still catching them. And if you think about it, the buzzbait's really not much different now than it was 47 years ago or 48 years ago.
Nope, not a whole lot. Not a whole lot at all. So,
Not much different. Same with plastic worms. They're not really. They can change the shape a little bit and add a little
yeah,
texture and take texture away, but there ain't much difference. You got ribbon tails and straight tails if you think about it.
that's it. That's it. So,
Yeah.
we don't have the next one scheduled yet, or know who's going to be on, but and it may just be you and I again chatting. But definitely stay tuned for the next episode. I think we'll wrap this one up for today, Phil. Appreciate you being on and talking pH fishing and the great things that are coming along with pH fishing. And make sure you stay tuned to the YouTube channel and also subscribe. We're like nearing that 100 mark. Like we're right there. We're teetering. So let's get that past 100 subscribers. You know, this year we're going to really focus on doing some other things too. Phil and I were just talking. Maybe we'll do some lives, some Facebook lives, some YouTube lives, actually on the water, and just
Yeah.
take you guys fishing with us. So
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And even do like the podcast on the water. It'd be cool. You know, we get out and
yeah,
sit on the dock and
yep,
and I don't want this to, I don't want, I know that, I mean, we talked about pH fishing, but I don't want this just to be about pH fishing. I want it to be a commercial. Like I
yep,
want to, my goal is, and we've talked about this, is I would like for people to tune into this because they want to learn something. And I'm not saying that my skill level is so high that I can teach. There's a lot of people know a whole lot more about it than I do,
hmm,
but we're going to have some really awesome guests. I mean, like
yeah,
superstar guests. You know,
yeah,
we had some really good guests last year,
yep,
and like Bobby Barrett, man. I mean, there wasn't
yeah,
even no reason to talk. He just took off. And
yeah,
if
yeah. That
that
was
wasn't a
awesome.
frog seminar, then anybody that missed that really missed a lot about frogs fishing if you'd like it.
Yep, and we'll make sure to get Bobby on. Probably we'll
Mhm.
probably save that one for probably summertime. You know, when it's a little more when frog fishing is a little more active. But yeah, stay tuned for the guests that we'll have on this year. Really excited. Go back if this is your first time listening. Go back to season one. Everything's posted on season one. Go look at our shorts on YouTube. And just enjoy the content and let us know if you like it and let us know what else you want to hear. What else do you want us to talk about?
Yeah,
Who do you want us to talk with? And yeah, it was a good season, season 2, episode 1, Phil. So I appreciate
yeah.
it.
And what I hope is when we talk about a topic, like I really want people to give their opinion. Like I want people
Yeah,
to comment because I want to learn too. Anything I can do to make me a better fisherman, because as you get older, it's easy to get stuck in a rut
sure.
and you're not so open minded as you were when you were young and all gung ho. So
Yep,
I like reading. Like I want to know, like if somebody else has an experience with grubs and stuff, like that would
yep,
be awesome. I mean, I'm sure there's ways to fish them that I never even thought about, and all
yep.
these baits, you know.
Yep, come follow us on Facebook. Come follow us on our new Instagram page that I need to get up and going a little bit more. YouTube for sure. Follow Phil Hunt on social media, PH Custom Lures. Get on there. I know that's going to change over to PH Fishing, but
Mhm.
there's always good content there as well. And just stop by and say hello on the YouTube channel as well.
Hey, thanks, guys. We had fun.
Yep. Thanks, Phil.
See ya.